What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Boslake. You find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one, the only. It is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, what's happening, man?
Oh, man, I'm just rolling into the next day. We're getting closer to Dying Light 2. That's got me excited.
Yeah, dude, it is now 2 days away, right? So
Yeah.
A lot of people getting excited for that. Yesterday we talked about Life is Strange collection dropped. Did you ever play Life is Strange?
No, I had seen a roommate play one of the episodes, but that's the only experience I really have. And it was quite a sad playthrough from what I saw.
It's definitely an emotional roller coaster.
It can do that.
Yeah, and then they just recently had True Colors, which is a fantastic game. Nate and I reviewed that for the show. Where everybody can be joining us live right now for ITG Daily is over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG or YouTube at Inside the Game Official. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Scott, coming up on today's show, there might be a little bit of an NFT project dropping, as I'm part of a project that has some hype going on. So make sure you stick around. We've got a bit of a hashtag dropping, so you can get that hash number and maybe win yourself a marmot. So stick around for that later in today's episode. But also, EA says Battlefield 2042 launch didn't meet expectations. Really? What?
Yeah,
what a shock.
What do you think was their first clue?
Oh man, I can't believe it. We'll get into that one. Microsoft Activision deal will be reviewed by the FTC, and Team17 cancels Worms NFT project. Dude, I didn't even know they had an NFT project.
No, I think that one lived and died very quickly.
It was unbelievable. I'm like, here's the thing, Scott. I would have been all over that NFT project, dude. I love Worms, and I saw some of that stuff. We'll get into the discussion on that, but dude, did I miss that announcement? Like, what happened there? But what I didn't miss, Scott, is Andrew Wilson is the EA CEO and says Battlefield 2042 did not meet the launch expectations they're looking for. No kidding. That was oh man, let's get into this one, as there's a lot to talk about.
To put it.
Oh, that's an understatement, right? EA just recently released its latest earnings report and hosted a conference call going over the findings. It seems that the work from home shift has affected the publisher greatly, like everyone else, while there have also been unanticipated performance issues they've dealt with. Well, let's see what happens here, man. What was clear, though, right off the top, was that EA is not particularly happy with Battlefield 2042's launch. EA Chief Executive Officer Andrew Wilson seemed to sum it up by saying, quote, "The launch of Battlefield 2042 did not meet our expectations," end quote. Scott, that is putting it lightly.
Yeah, well, I feel like the full statement, if they were to go and do an analysis, is going to be many pages long. But
yep.
I think of just my first reaction is there anybody that was satisfied by the launch? Well, I am genuinely curious. If anybody out there has any sort of comments on that,
yeah,
please, Savage on Twitter. I would like to hear from you. I really would, because I look at the myriad of issues and I go, well, who was driving the ship? And that's kind of...
Well, the thing is, Scott, we've seen numerous delays come out of games, right? And yeah, the whole shift to work from home aspect has now been around for 2 years.
Yeah,
and the biggest problem is you launch one of EA's biggest titles and it completely fell flat on its face. Dude, that community is dying. We keep a look at it, we keep watching it over and over, and the more as the days progress, the less the numbers are for a player base, and everybody else keeps reporting on how the game is still so busted. Dude, we have another article later on that it's growing their update patch files. Like it's just the next update is going to be massive. But if it's going to be massive, Scott, here's the thing, dude, it shouldn't be massive. It should be little fixes here or there, little tweaks, not a huge update. What that tells me is that the game wasn't ready and you launched it when you shouldn't have. That's the problem. I don't understand why they did that.
There's massive holes that are missing that anybody who had the checklist of what makes a Battlefield game should have noticed before it got out the door. It went for gold, but it was missing, voice communications. It still is. There's no scoreboard. That just completely boggles the mind. And this will actually be a subject of a video that I'm putting together for later. Not sure when, but we're going to do a little bit of a checkup or check-in, and we'll see how it's been since the updates. But I've been spending some time on the game. I can tell you that it is playable, but disappointing.
That's the biggest thing, right? It lacks what everybody expects out of EA and DICE to produce a good Battlefield game. Scott, by far, you are the most up-to-date and the largest fan we have of Battlefield within the franchise, within the series. You've always followed it, you've always played it, and for the most part loved a lot of them. This one is one of the worst ones they've ever launched, and it's new.
Yeah, I'm not excited about it. In hindsight now, I like Battlefield 5 more than this one, which I was very not happy with 5.
Man, it's just it's mind-blowing that they did this. It's been clear since launch that EA wasn't happy with how things are going. However, we all know there's plenty of hope for the game. Updates and changes have been the saving grace for many a game, multiplayer or otherwise, ever since developers could push out patches. DICE turns things around for Star Wars Battlefront 2 after a while, so who's to say it won't fix Battlefield 2042? Dude, that's the biggest thing. We've seen the launch of, again, another DICE game though, man. Like Battlefront 2 launched. Everybody was all over that. And then as time progresses, then it's fixed and it's playable and people are loving it. Can they do the same thing? Do you think they can do that here with Battlefield 2042?
I think they're certainly capable. They've shown a lot of improvement to Battlefront 2, and I think it'll require them getting a little bit more creative with this one. There's Portal, and that's a brand new system, but I feel like it's very underdeveloped right now. It's kind of used as the emergency float at the moment. Yeah. But there's a lot of things they could do and improve it and make it its own standout game. But comparing this one to Battlefront 2, it just, I think it highlights the issue in development. And I have to suspect it's more management that's responsible, because I don't think you can blame the individuals of any one part of this game. All of the little bits do work. Yeah. But there's just, like I said, that checklist was missing a few checks when I sent it out.
Oh man, a few pages of checklists. Let's move on to the next topic. With Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal will reportedly be reviewed by the FTC. The FTC has held a more aggressive stance on big tech mergers in recent months. This comes from Joe Scribbles over at IGN. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission will reportedly be taking the reins on reviewing Microsoft's intended acquisition of Activision Blizzard amid a more aggressive stance from the government agency on big tech mergers. Dude, when you purchase a company for $70 billion, there's going to be a couple heads turning your way. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I think even just on a tax basis, just right? The amount of zeros on there.
It's crazy. On the same day as Microsoft's deal was announced, the Justice Department and FTC announced plans to rewrite merge guidelines, warning that U.S. industries have become increasingly concentrated. FTC Chair Lin Khan said that such concentration could lead to price rate rises and lower wages. I don't think that is the outcome here of this. I think the merge of Activision and Microsoft is a saving grace for Microsoft. For Activision. Yeah.
Yeah, I think more Activision stands to gain out of that one. But it was a big deal. Now, I've seen a lot of people talking about this in Twitter and socials. Yeah. And that it's not an alien idea to have the FTC. In fact, it is their job to do this.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything obviously bad or suspect about it. It's just that it must have broke records. I can't cite what the other biggest deal was prior to this, but this one just blew that record completely out of the water. So that's why it has the attention, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's been some big deals like $40 billion purchases here, there, whatever. But when it comes to the entertainment side of things, this is the biggest purchase we've ever seen within our industry, right? Followed behind that was Bethesda with $7.8 billion, I believe that was. So, that's a huge jump all of a sudden to take. And you even take a look at it though, Scott. ZeniMax Studios. ZeniMax had so many companies within it, right? Bethesda and Alt Machine Games, Arcane. There's so many other studios within that franchise there that they can tap into. And then they pull out Activision, And then Activision, we know how many studios they have. Like all of a sudden, Xbox goes from a small company, well, a big company with small studios with a limited quantity of studios, and then all of a sudden, dude, within like the 1 year, 6 months, they just like almost tripled their studio count, which is amazing to see. Xbox making a lot of purchases. Curious to see if they're done. FTC, I don't think we're really going to worry about this. I don't think it's going to affect Microsoft whatsoever. I think this was a good deal for Activision to then get in with Microsoft so they can help save them. Let's get Bobby Kotick out of there. He needs to go at this point. And then just yesterday, or was the day before, we saw PlayStation purchase Bungie for $3.6 billion. Dude, a lot of studios right now getting gobbled up by other higher ups.
Yeah, the console wars are back and burning now.
Oh, right?
And they're drawing out the lines in the sand, and that's to be expected. I think the FTC moving on this deal, I think, is actually a good thing because it sort of notarizes the deal, makes it official. It has been checked and screened, and that I think that should happen when there's this many people's jobs sort of in the balance or affected at least. Because think about all the people that Activision Blizzard employs. Must be thousands, or at least 2,000. And like I think that's where the concern comes. The FTC looking at, all right, everybody's pay is going to stay what's to be expected. You're not going to just totally cut the rug out from these people.
Yeah, no, it's just more or less that Activision falls under the Xbox umbrella now. It's really the only change of hands here. They're not, Xbox have already come out and said, Phil Spencer have stated that he's not changing anything, right? They're still going to work as their own studios and stuff like that. But what brings in the future now for Xbox and the possibilities there, man, like what a move. So we'll see what FTC does, but I don't think they're going to do much, to be honest.
I just thought of something interesting with the Bungie acquisition. Have you heard the rumor that Phil Spencer's favorite game was Destiny? And that's something to do with the targeting. People are going to talk like the schoolyard. But
well, yeah, of course, right? Well, that's what we said for so long, that PlayStation has been lacking that first-person shooter. They had Killzone a while ago, and dude, I enjoyed Killzone. Right? That's an Insomniac title, so why don't you bring that back as well, right? They haven't had that go-to shooter though. They've relied on Call of Duty. They've relied on Activision to have a shooter of some sort on that platform for PlayStation fans. Now moving forward, dude, once that contract is up with all the deals for Call of Duty, there's going to be a shift coming, right? You'll see them still remain with Warzone. I think Warzone's not going anywhere on the PlayStation platform. But again, just like it falls under the whole Bethesda deal, you don't spend $7.8 billion to give your property away. And they're going to do that here, I think, with Call of Duty, because you don't spend $68 billion and just go here for the competition. You want to grow. And that's what we keep talking about is Xbox doesn't care if you have an Xbox. They could care less. They want you to have Game Pass, right? That's their focus. Bring Game Pass. All of a sudden now, the only place you can play a single-player Call of Duty game is on Game Pass. That's a nice little initiative. I also know, too, like, let's not be dumb. Dude, multiplayer is where Call of Duty shines. That's where everybody goes to. I know so many people who just skip the campaign altogether and just go right to the multiplayer. Don't even touch it. And I'm like,
I used to think that was crazy. I used to think that was crazy. Back around, I think Modern Warfare 2. I was the only one playing the campaign, and I thought, you guys are crazy. This is great. Black Ops, I love the Black Ops storylines. You and I have played the last two campaigns, and I enjoyed it a lot. But we're in it's a totally different landscape now. Online-only games are normal and very popular, of course. You look at PUBG or Warzone.
Well, yeah, let's just say Northern Nerdcast sets it up over in Twitch. It says apparently the next big deal for gaming was Tencent acquiring a studio. Is that the next big one coming around? We know PlayStation isn't done as well. There's speculations and rumors of who are they going to purchase. Honestly, dude, you know who they should purchase?
Talking about that.
Yeah, they should get Konami. Just buy Konami, and then they can make a Metal Gear game, because that's what we all need at this point, right?
I'm kind of hoping, that Xbox takes a cross pick. It just tensions get higher and higher and higher until Xbox cherry picks. All right, Kojima, here is one of the American islands. We're gonna gift it to you, because you can't make a dollar deal with that man. But
well, the thing is, Kojima right now is apparently rumored to be working on an Xbox title as well. So he's got his hands in what we've been speculating over now for a couple days. He's working on, well, they're Kojima Productions is working on a PSVR 2 title. They're in bed with Xbox creating something over there, and they're working on something else for PlayStation. So man, the guy's all over the place, which is really cool. So I think we got some people looking for, I would say, a little bit of this. So we'll see if they can catch that. And then Scott, let's get into the next one, my friend, because it's Worms. Dude, Worms is wicked. I'm a huge fan of Worms, and I'm definitely curious to see what happened as Team17 announces then cancels Worms NFTs, which is just, dude, I had no idea this was even a thing. This comes from Marcus Stewart over Game Informer. Publisher Team17 announces the Meta Worms NFT project. Basically, the plan was to create NFTs based on the popular Worm licenses, and that will help the NFT maker, Reality Game Group. Team17 built these NFTs as environmentally friendly because they were a sidechain of Ethereum and produced using RGG's carbon neutral servers. I thought this was a great project, dude. I just found this out this morning. I had no idea it was even a thing, and I would have been in a second.
And then you get to the bottom, and
I was just like, man, I was baffled by it, right? That's the biggest thing to me. I was like, we're starting to see the rise of NFTs make their way into the gaming space. And Corey and myself just covered a topic on last week's episode of Inside the Game of NFTs coming into the video game space. And there's a lot of concerns, speculations, and confusion of how this works. The biggest problem from what I'm getting is feedback from a lot of people and the developers is the environmental harm that it's causing. And I know a lot of people, and especially over at Chia, things are changing. They're really looking to change on how all that is coming around and not as environmental hazardous as what a lot of people are expecting it or thinking it is. I know currently there are some rules and regulations and things like that are harming the environment, but they're looking to fix that. And one of our platforms that we're a part of over there at Chia is looking to do just that. So man, that's too bad. I was really looking forward to once that I saw this morning.
I'm not really sure why the carbon footprint has come up in discussion at all. I'm not sure if it's just a way of certain NFT groups kind of advertising themselves as they have an advantage over other NFT groups. I'm not really sure what the severity of that carbon emission is, but it is something to consider. Of course, this is just a digital token, so it doesn't have much place on the real world other than its carbon footprint. But Worms would have been, from me on the outside, they would have been a good set of NFTs. It makes perfect sense.
Yep, I would have been all over it.
I think I'm only familiar with 2 NFT groups. I'm not going to name them just because I don't want to do that. I don't want to get into that. But that's right. I can't favor any of them. That's not allowed. But the Worms would have been a good model to go from. Everybody has one. There are already a ton of different variants.
Absolutely.
They have silly names. It would have really worked.
Dude, I used to draw Worms as a kid. Like this was, I was kind of heartbroken when I saw that news come up this morning. I was like, well, that kind of bites, but we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll come back around with another project, and hopefully, like I got that email yesterday. I was like, oh, really? What the heck? That's too bad. So we'll see what happens. But we'll see what happens for the future, and we'll also see what happens with the future of Battlefield 2042 Season 1 pushed back to summer 2022. This comes from Michael over at PSU. Scott, here we go again. Ripple Effect Studio has announced a delay for Battlefield 2042 Season 1 until summer 2022 in an effort to help bring the game up to the high standards it has set for the franchise. The announcement follows fairly negative feedback from fans after Battlefield 2042's November 2021 release regarding numerous issues. Yeah. Scott, what are your thoughts? Like, we've been over this numerous times already.
Yeah, I feel like they should have just delayed the entire launch of the game. But there was a lot of pressures, and we've talked about it. You can't exactly do that with investors and the like. But this is at least somewhat of that idea realized. Well, let's hold off on new content, because it doesn't make much sense to bring new. I'll call that the Project Red approach. Does it make much sense to add new DLC and content when the game itself just has these issues? But they go on to list a lot of the things that are solved in updates, and that leads with my 2 biggest complaints. Scoreboard. All right. In the next update, we'll be adding a refreshed in-round scoreboard alongside further changes we've worked on since the holidays. Yeah, it's a very good place to start. The next change would be the all-platform voice communication.
Yeah.
So just having voice chat in general. It is completely absent right now,
Yep.
which is insane, but almost positive because I think it would be very toxic in the way the game is at the moment. I
No,
see it in the
absolutely.
text chat in the top right. Hilarious.
For sure. But dude, let's move on to something I'm excited for. Is Hogwarts Legacy reportedly due to launch in September 2022? It comes from Michael again over at PSU. Warner Brothers recently confirmed that Hogwarts Legacy will indeed launch in 2022, but according to tipster account NGT on Twitter, the fantasy is being locked in for a September launch. Not only does the insider claim that Hogwarts Legacy will arrive at the very beginning of Q3 2022, but we can expect a new trailer showcasing skills and abilities to drop this month or March at the PlayStation event. PlayStation event is whoa. First of all, there's a state of play tonight, 5 o'clock. I'll be there. We'll be hanging out. We'll check out. I know it's all supposed to be really focused on GT7. We'll see how that goes. But there's got to be other stuff there too, right, Scott?
Well, we've had some predictions, and the more time that goes on, the more I'm thinking Spartacus.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. Kind of makes you wonder, right? What's that
That might
PlayStation
require
Game
a
Pass look like?
40-minute. I think that would require a 40-minute presentation on its own, though.
Absolutely. So we'll see. But Hogwarts is supposed to be coming Q3 September. I think is a good launch time for this game. It's been. I'm kind of surprised it's honestly coming this year. I thought we would have seen a delay once again. But those are the rumors to take with a grain of salt. You never quite know, Scott. Dude, why don't you take the next one? This is all you.
Yes, we have, in addition to Hogwarts, we now have Shadow Warrior 3 with a release date in March. And this has been a long time coming for fans. Now, personally, I just want to mention, I played the second one, not the first one, but the second one, and I was pulled in by the weird charm of it and the kind of new Doom-like combat. It is very out there, but this is interesting because it's one of those, I'm always looking for new shooters. So this is looks like a good one. The developer Flying Wild Hog has finally confirmed the game is launching on March 1st. A stylish and self-aware cinematic trailer celebrates the occasion in over-the-top fashion. I'm going to skip by the little description of the video. If you're curious, I'd recommend watching it because it has its own humor to it. But
certainly
they have also announced a new voice cast consisting of Mike Moe as Lo Wang, Andromeda Dunker as Motoko, and Sungwon Cho for Zilla. Now, I want to shout out him. He's also on YouTube. That's where I know him from. He's a voice actor, and he does incredible work. So he was actually in Borderlands 3, so to see him in another game, I'm a fan.
Nice.
Lastly, there's Alex Dobrenko, and he is Hoji in this game. Now, This was first announced in the summer of 2020, for a 2021 release, but that didn't happen. So it is good to see them cement some sort of a release date now moving forward. And it's not too far away.
Not too far away at all, Scott. And neither is the end of this show. So why don't we wrap things up? We have a game DLC announcement and one release for today. What do we have, Scott?
We have the Far Cry 6 Rambo DLC. I think that's really fitting.
It is awesome. I saw that come in. I was like, oh, this is cool.
We also have the release of The Waylanders on PC.
We checked out The Waylanders on PC. Was that you and I who did that one? I can't remember who was.
No, I'm not familiar with it.
Nate? Maybe Corey? I can't remember. But we checked it out. We had a good time. There's, I don't know. It's a curious looking title. I thought I was expecting more of a third person perspective, but you start up top view, but then you can kind of zoom right in as well. So you have that ability. It's cool. A lot of stuff going on with that game, a lot of mechanics, a lot of systems, and a lot of magic. So if you're into that stuff, then it's definitely there for you. But Scott, dude, as always, everybody, this has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always catch us live over on twitch.tv/theofficialITG. But if you can't join us live over there, hit us up over on YouTube at Inside the Game Official. And as always, you can catch us on InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Everybody, thanks again for watching. I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see everybody tomorrow inside the game.